Okay, so here we are in the loft. It just happens to be the loft in my house, but this is where the central heating pump is. This pumps the water around the system, it pumps it to the radiators, it pumps it to my Megaflow tank, and this is the primary and only pump in the system. I have managed to take it out, and on the back of the pump, this is a Grundfos pump. The label has come off, but I've got it to the side. This is a Grundfos pump.
Okay, on the top of the pump unit there you have all your electrical connections. You have your 3-core cable going in there for a gland nut. 3-core, I mean you have your live, your negative and your earth, and then you have your 3-speed selector switch. You can get inside there and get to the actual wiring connections if you need to. I must stress that you should isolate it from the electricity. Also underneath that black cap is a capacitor. Now capacitors are used on any pumps or electric motors. They just store up a bit of energy to give an initial bit of oomph to get the motor going. Now capacitors can fail, so this could be a fault, potential fault on your central heating system, and it is something that can be replaced. Little bit of research needs to be done into what capacitor, but they have descriptions on the side, and then you can just order the corresponding capacitor. Also, that whole electrical connection unit head can come away from the valve, the main pump body, and that will reveal about an 8 or 9 pin electrical connection that goes from that connection head to the pump itself. Now, typically these pumps use about 4 or 5 of those connectors at any given time, and it can be a source of failure, particularly like the live power feed can arc if the connection is not great, and over time that arcing causes the pin to corrode away, and can corrode away to the point at which there's no connection at all. But it may be a point at which you can clean off some of the carbon deposits, and you may get a little bit more life out of your pump.
Obviously I've got all the electricity shut off, so I've isolated it so this isn't live. And this is the impeller. Now what an impeller does, it spins around, it sucks water in through this hole. The water is drawn in from here, so the water comes this way into the system, gets sucked in through this hole, sucked into there, spins around through these little veins in there, shoots the water out of the side like so, and then the water then gets shot through to the rest of the system this way and goes to the I've got 2 valves here, one's for the hot water, domestic hot water, and one's for the central heating. So it is just basically a motor that spins an impeller that draws water through the system. Now what happens in these systems is that you get magnetite build-up. Magnetite is that black crusty stuff, and this pump had got very noisy and vibrations were going through the pipes, and what it was, there was a build-up of magnetite inside these veins. So all I do is, using the lock shield on either side of the pump here and here, isolate the pump, undo the 4 bolts that retain it, put a bowl underneath to catch any water that's still in there, and then I then take a very small implement, like a small where's it gone, like a small Allen key like that, and systematically I just go into the veins one by one and scrape out all of the magnetite. You can see as you pass the tool in through the side, it then goes through to the middle, and have a good old scrape around in there, and you'll be quite shocked at the amount of magnetite that comes out there. Another little handy thing for getting the magnetite, or the main chunks of it out there, is a magnet. As you go in like that, it will take out the magnetite, which will be stuck to the magnet. Here in this bowl is all of the stuff that I managed to take out of that impeller. Some of the veins were actually blocked completely, which then causes an imbalance in the impeller that creates vibration. So there's nothing actually wrong with this pump, it just needed a clean out. Now the great complication I had was that these lock shields here and here had actually got gunked up with Magnetite as well. This one I've already cleaned out. I'm just about to do this one. Now to do this I have had to partially drain the system to take pressure off of here, otherwise I would have been left with a massive flood. But ordinarily when you're servicing your domestic hot water pump, you use your shut off valves either side and they should be fine. But in this instance I have had to service the valves as well, and let me just show you how these valves actually operate. Now this one hasn't been cleaned, so I'm expecting it to be a bit dirty. I've just started doing it like so. There we are. So there's inside the valve, you can see that's a bit gunky in there, and then here is the actual mechanism. Now this side of the valve, this side of the pump is always cleaner because it's the outbound side. This is the inbound side, and that tends to take most of the debris because obviously the impeller catches quite a bit of it. So that is nowhere near as dirty as this side was, and I suspect it was this side that had completely failed. It just couldn't close enough to shut the water flow off because there was too much Magnetite built up, and the Magnetite doesn't build up in even levels, so some water flows through. So now let me show you this in closer detail. Okay, so here we are with the main part of the valve. This is the end that you turn to open and shut the valve, and it's on a worm screw. So this is the bit that actually does the shutting. It's like a disc, and as you turn the spindle there, the worm screw pushes this disc in and out of the body of the valve, so into the valve, and it shuts the flow, pull it out, and it lets water flow through. And you can see that's a bit dirty there with the Magnetite and other rubbish that you find in the central heating system. As I say, this is on the outward flow side and it isn't as dirty as the other side, but what I'll do is just give all that a clean up, and also a clean up inside the valve body, and this will all be good to go back in. There's no actual rubber seal or anything on this part here. It is just simply done by you know, sliding a brass piece into the valve body, and that is enough to restrict the flow. So let's get that cleaned up. So I'm just using a blade there just to scrape off the deposits of the Magnetite. That's what can stop a good seal from occurring and allow water to continue to pass by even though you think you've got the valve shut. So it just scrapes off. Okay, just get the worst of it off. And you see if I get a magnet, you see it collects up all of the debris, and it's all stuck on the underside there because it is magnetic, hence the name Magnetite. So just give that a good going over. Give the actual worm screw there a bit of a clean up. Okay, there you can see the worm screw, and then that reverse threads onto there like so. Make sure it's free working, and it is. Okay, so taking a little implement like this, we're going to scrape out the deposits on the inside of there, because any deposits inside there will stop the valve that we just cleaned from seating inside there properly, and could allow too much water pass when you're trying to do servicing work. and it's those deposits that build up that stop the valve from working effectively. So it's a good old scrape, and then take a wipe, get in there, get all the debris out, and you see that. Okay, it's looking much cleaner in there already. Okay, that's that cleaned up. Okay, now the actual valve can go back into the body. In it goes. There we go, and in she goes. And then we just get a spanner. Nicely nipped up. Okay, now it's time to put the pump head back into the body of the pump there. So just give the rubber seal round the outside of there a good wipe to make sure there's no debris that could stop the seal from seating properly, and likewise on the inside of the body itself. Give that a bit of a wipe, make sure it seals nicely, and then it's just a case of offering it back in and doing the bolts up.